Here is our silver countermeasure. Viral overload. Oh boy. Have one or more viruses on every open partition on Virtue and Salvation. Are you serious? We're going to curse again at Paul here, because if we had put Faith here, we would have so many less that we have to do. But because we don't have Faith here, any of the open partitions in Virtue and Salvation are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All 8 of those need to have at least one virus. This will be interesting. Now that we're on the silver countermeasure, we're going to have to roll for sparks 2 times per turn. So we already restocked the Hack Shack at the beginning of the round, so we're at the end of the last round, so we're going to roll and play sparks 2 times. First on yellow. We'll place that one here. This is partition 1, which is the weakest, but it's also great. That should be easy for me to defeat. Here's our second one. Blue. The lowest and weakest partition in blue or Faith is the second partition. So the only thing I'm going to be able to get with my hand here is use this focus to get this Ginger Cool, which actually has an interrupt effect. So this is the first card that has an interrupt. Based on how I understand interrupts, they can be played at any time, even on your fellow players' turns. And after, so this effect is, or interrupt, after any spark roll, to instead change the face of one of the spark dice to whatever you desire. So we could change that server die to whatever color we want. That might be really useful. The first thing I'm going to do is an infect action. I'm going to use my infiltrate, which gives me 2 destruction, plus my 2 viruses, plus me 2, 4, 6. 6 to 1 against that spark. I'm going to roll these, but it's already a guarantee I'm going to win. Oh, and it's a 1-1. Snake eyes. Still, we have a 7 to his 2. We win. And Monica did bring up a good point. We could have lost because ties do go to the sparks. But I was able to eliminate that 1 spark. Then I'm going to use this read request intercept as 2 information, and that's going to allow me to move 2 spaces. And I'm going to move over to this partition, partition 3, and I'm going to bring these 2 viruses with me. I'm going to then use this memory steal and this leadership as 1 deception to be able to do another infect action. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 1. Less likely to be guaranteed, but I still feel good about my odds. Oh, 6 plus 1 is 7. We have 5 plus 2 is 7, and that means we lost. Well, that's what you get for sometimes getting unfortunate luck. Chip theory, come on. So we lose 1 virus. I'm going to use Ginger Cool, and I'm going to use the leadership for 1 information. That's going to allow me, with 1 information, to take 1 step here, and I'm going to leave that virus there. And I'm 1 step closer to getting over here to start making some more viruses. That's going to end my turn, and now we look to see if any of our contaminants or installations are surrounded, and I think we're still good. But this looks a little bit scary over here. We don't want to lose that Neuro Hub. We kept the Dancing Pig in our hand, so let's draw 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, not as much destruction as I was hoping for. Still, not a bad hand though. At the start of Monica's turn, let's draw up and fill up that hacky shack, as she calls it. Okay, Monica, I don't want to see any red or yellow. I said no red or yellow. All right, we put 1 on Salvation. That poor spark is going to be covered in contaminants, so hopefully we'll be able to get rid of that one. All right, Monica, let's see what you get. Oh, Faith, that's not terrible. The weakest and the lowest number would be this partition 5 right where Monica is, so we'll place a spark there.
So the first thing I'm going to do is look to the Hacky Shack to see what cards I want to buy. So I am going to start by using my Decrypt 2 for 2 to get the read request intercept. Its execute is to place this card plus up to 2 others from your hand to the bottom of your command deck, then draw back to the same amount. Okay, so this goes to my hand and this goes away. Next thing I'm going to do is use all of my yellow, all of my deception, 1 plus my leadership plus the last deception, there's 3 of them, to buy the replicant jar. And the execute here is to flip any number of contaminants on your server to their other opposite side. As you can see, each one of these contaminants has a different color on the bottom. So the yellows and the reds are opposite sides, or the virus and the replicants. And and the data nodes and the uplinks are opposite from each other. So this card lets me flip them over. I'm going to discard the basic, destroy this intercept and just discard the self-modifying inhibitor. So the first action I'm going to do is I'm going to play my replicant jar, and I'm going to use my leadership as cognition. I'm going to use those and my data hub here, my neural hub, to project and to push these viruses. So I'm going to push them both out. Okay? That way Colin can go and make some more viruses from that propagator. Next, what I'm going to do is use the read request intercept, and that I'm going to use as 2 information to move. So I'll move one here.
Are you taking anything with you?
I hadn't decided. That's why I didn't get any farther. What do you think? Should I take it with me?
Well, yeah.
I have to take it.
You have to take it, right?
Okay, so I'm going to take this replicant.
What was the plan? What was the plan?
I'm going to take this replicant with me. That's one move. This is a free. And this is my second move. So I'm done with that action. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the modify action with my sabotage. Okay, so this one here is the deception that I need, and I'm going to change it into a virus. So goodbye spark, hello virus.
Yes, and another one in a spot we need.
And then I have one card left in my hand, but I'm going to stop there. Now I will draw my hand up, and I get to draw 5. Oh, yes.
Oh, iteration?
Yes.
Oh man, I wish you had more deception. Oh, but you've got a lot of uplinks, right?
Yeah, I think I got what I need.
Or cognition uplinks. I'm sorry, cognition, which should be great, being able to help push stuff too. Okay, sweet. Now we look to see if any of our contaminants or our installations are fully covered by sparks. Surrounded, I should say, not covered. And I don't see any, so I still think we're good, but it's starting to stack up. Next, let's draw up that hack shack. Oh yes! Sidekick? Heck yeah. Oh my gosh. Some great destruction for me. But first, rolling for sparks. Not yellow or red, please. Blue. I'm okay with that. Lowest and weakest, we're looking at partition 3 in blue, or faith. Actually, that's a faith. That's justice. Here's the second roll. I was hoping I wasn't going to do that, because that's a white. That means it's the server that I'm on, and of course I'm on my salvation server. The weakest and the lowest, so there's a spark, a spark, a spark. There is no spark on partition 4. So I'm going to give up infiltrate here, and I'm going to get this sidekick, because the ability is we can execute to instead delete 1 spark on your partition or an adjacent partition. That's awesome. And then I'm going to use this Nightum ship, and I'm going to use that, so that's 1 information, and I can get this data ship, which actually gives me 2 information, and gives me the ability to move up to 3 contaminants from any adjacent partition to your partition. Oh, sweet. First thing I'm going to do is use decrypt for information. That's going to allow me to move up to 2 spaces, but I'm just going to move into here. Now, because I'm in here with this propagator, even though there's this spark, I can still upload viruses, which is exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm going to use up my EMP, use that as 2 destruction, so I can upload 2 viruses onto this partition. And yeah, you can see why Ricky said they're going to make the partitions a little bit bigger. They get covered with lots of different tokens. The next thing I'm going to do is use Dancing Pigs execute. So it says have 1 contaminant on your server, swap partitions with 1 spark on your server. To do that, I'm going to swap this virus with this spark. So now we've got another virus in the right spot, hopefully. Then I'm going to use this sidekick, and I'm going to do an infect action. So I'm adding 2 destruction, plus me is 4, plus 1 here is 5, to the sparks 2. And I'm going to try and delete both of those sparks. 5 to 2, we're the red die, let's go. Yes! 5, we're at 10, 2 is 6, 10 to 6, we beat and delete both of those sparks. Thank goodness, made up for my terrible roll on that last one. There we go, and that cleared that out. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to discard diversion. I'm not going to use it. I'm ending with just data shift in my hand, so that way I can hopefully do a lot of moving around next round. Now normally I know, and before we've been doing this, but it just helps us with editing and videoing, we're going to look to see about sparks before drawing up our hand. So we're looking to see if any sparks surround any of our contaminants. No, this is the only one that's getting close. Yeah, looks, oh, and this virus, if partition 6 gets filled, would also be surrounded. But I think we're good. Let's draw up our last set of 5. Yes, more destruction. That's what I wanted to see. Ooh, leadership. I'm good with that. Okay. Oh, you know, replicants is okay. Oh, yes. Even more leadership. And, oh, yeah, Renegade's Apprentice. We're going to need to upgrade that. We'll refresh the Hack Shack for Monica. And now she'll have to roll for sparks. Oh, exotic software looks awesome. All right, first we're rolling for the 2 sparks. Faith, that's not the end of the world. Lowest and weakest would be the second partition. Here we go for our second one. Ah, oh, really? That's white, so that would be Monica's server. Unfortunately, that puts 1 on virtue, and our 1 partition is here. Gosh, this is just hard, you guys. But we do have 2 viruses here, so if nothing else, when we do the virus battle, we have a slight edge.
So the first thing I'm going to do is buy from the Hack Shack. I'm going to use my interrupt to purchase the duality. And that is the only thing I'm going to buy because I'm going to leave the emit EMP in case Colin needs it.
Which I'm going to tell you I need it. It's just a question of do I want to buy it.
So the first thing I'm going to do is use my iteration to upload a virus. And I'm actually going to use the reveal effect to use the upload. I may upload 1 additional contaminant of that type to the partition. So I get 2 viruses there.
Yeah, sweet.
The next thing I'm going to use is my digital tattoo to push 1 of those viruses into partition 4.
She's doing that using the shift action.
Yes. Next what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my data scan to take 1 of these viruses with me, drop it along the way, and although these are free actions with the data nodes, I still needed the information to move. So I'm going to drop the virus there and then move into here. Now I am going to use duality along with my infiltrate to modify this this spark into a virus.
And she can do that because she is considered a replicant. That's her special ability. So she has more replicants on here than sparks, so that's why she can modify that spark.
Then what I'm going to do, last but not least, is I'm going to use my adrenaline surge and push 2 of these viruses
into here. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's going to give us a good chance here. So then we really just have to worry about this spot, and that's what I've got to do. I got my work cut out for me. So normally we would do this at the end phase. Monica would drop first, but let's just look to see we don't have any contaminants or installations fully covered or surrounded, right? I don't see any. I think we're good. So now let's have Monica draw up her hand.
Drawing up my hand.
Can't you just draw the rest of the cards?
Yes, I can.
She still gets 1 more turn.
Unfortunately, I've got a lot of my basics in here.
Yeah, that's okay. Maybe you can upgrade them then.
Yeah.
First thing we're going to do is refresh that Hack Shack, and then let's do some rolling for some sparks. Okay, I'm looking for not yellow, not red, and not white. That's only half of the die. Oh! So that's going to place 1 right here, which actually isn't terrible. That means I should be able to defeat that one, hopefully. Okay, now we're really not looking for red, yellow, or white. Blue! Yes! Not that it's a good thing to be putting sparks out, but when you have to put 1 out, putting 1 on Justice 4 doesn't sound terrible. So the first thing I think I'm going to do to upgrade my deck, I'm going to get rid of this Renegade's Apprentice. Great, we have an apprentice, but let's get rid of him. Instead, let's get some Overwrite Interrupt. We can also interrupt an Infect action and add +2, which is awesome. Plus, it's just more destruction. First thing I'm going to do is use my Trickery Master and use the leadership there as destruction to upload 1 more virus. Now, I know there's a spark there, but I can do that because I have that the propagator installation there. Next, I'm going to use my data shift and take 2 steps with that information, bringing those 2 viruses along with me. And I like how Monaco is doing that. I'll try and pick them up like this and go boop, boop. All right, so now I'm over here. I got a 2-for-1 fight here, so I'm going to use my overwrite interrupt, and that's going to add 1 more destruction. So I'm going to do an infect action. Well, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 1. We've got really good odds here. Let's see what we can do. Oh, yeah. 6 and 1. So we have 6 plus, 2, 4, 5. So we have 11 to 2. So we'll delete this spark, thank goodness. Next, I'm going to use my Project Consciousness. I'm going to use that 2 leadership as information. I'm going to take a step into here and bring 1 virus. So we've got 2 viruses against 1 spark. Then I'm just going to use this reset spark and use the execute. Delete all sparks on your partition. So just take that spark out. And then I still have this wonderful deception. I'm not using it. I'm going to discard it and that'll end my turn. Looking here on the board, I don't see any of our contaminants or installations being fully surrounded, so I think we're set there. I can't redraw up because that was the end of my 3rd turn. So Monica will just refresh the Hacky Shack and we'll roll for sparks. We're looking for here, red is actually okay, just not yellow. It'd be nice if it was no yellow. So no yellow or white, Monica. Nice. Faith. So putting 1 on Faith does add 1 on this 3rd partition, and now we've got 2s. A lot of 2s going on the board. And once these all get filled up, then we're going to start getting Guardians, and that's not good. So Faith is going to be a problem child for us in the next countermeasure. All right, Monica, let's see what we get. Oh, yellow. Well, the only good thing about this is that's going to be on her specific partition. Hopefully she can take care of that. She might even be able to modify it.
First thing I'm going to do is use my diversion to buy the dancing pig, which executes says to instead have 1 contaminant on your server swap partitions with 1 spark on your server. Next, I'm going to use the infiltrate to buy emit EMP since Colin decided he didn't want it. And the also when this card is used to initiate an infect action and you succeed, delete all sparks from 1 partition adjacent to yours. Hoping to use that.
I love that EMP.
First thing I'm going to do is use the dancing pig to modify the spark on my partition into one of the replicants. It is also our last one, so we can't do that anymore.
And that means we also can't do viruses anymore. But that makes sense. We've been putting out so many viruses. That was our goal.
The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the leadership on my memory steal to do a move action. And I am going to move into here. And then I'm going to use the rest of my cards, which are the Renegade. I'm gonna do an infect here. So I've got 1 here. I'm gonna do the black market. That's 2 additional destruction, and I'm also going to use the emit EMP, which is 2 more. And plus, I'm hoping to use this also to defeat this one on an adjacent partition. So let's see. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 against the 1. That's guaranteed. So I take away the 1 spark here and I defeat the spark over here. And we go, yay!
Yeah.
We never thought we would make that objective.
Oh my gosh. That took so long to figure out. So the next step we do is we look to see if there's any viruses on the same partitions as any of our contaminants. And amazingly enough, no. We do have a virus here with our installation, but that's okay. The sparks are not strong enough to defeat installations, so that installation is okay. We also should check because of spider, making sure no contaminants were surrounded. None of them are surrounded, so we're fine there. So then what we do is we look at success or failure. And I would say we completed this one. We have viruses on every open partition in both Salvation and Virtue. That was fun.
Man, the reward better be good.
Well, our success isn't that great this time. We spent all this time and still, we have to add 1 spark to every partition on Virtue and Salvation that does not contain a virus. What the? Mother is initiating Typhoid Mary. So this means we're going to have to put out 4 more sparks. We're going to have to put 1 in this location, 1 here, one here, and one here. Oh my gosh. I mean, that was better than the fail, but still, golly. Now, we technically should do the spark movement. We don't, oh, this should not be a flare, you guys. Sorry, there we go. But we skip that with Spider. If you want to see how that movement works, check out Doug's or Ricky's or Adam's. You'll see how that works. But in ours, we can skip it. Our final step will be that we get rid of everything in the Hack Shack, we replenish it, and then we'll draw back up to 5 cards, and we're going to do our gold countermeasure. One left. Here is our gold countermeasure. This is going to be fun. Program shift. So our goal is to create a complete message queue on this card equal to the number of renegades. Now, what's a message queue? Each time you perform a shift or a push, we've been calling it a push action a lot, but it's really a shift action. You may instead remove the shifted token from the network and place it on this card at the end of a message queue. And the message queue has to be in this order. It has to be a virus, a replicant, an uplink, a data node, and then a spark. And we have to get 2 of those on this card and not run out of sparks. The amount of sparks that we have left in the supply is only 7. And don't forget, because we're playing Spider now in the gold, we roll 3 times for sparks every turn. This is going to be fun.